Dating nightmares that have a frightening amount of red flags.
I'm in danger!
Out of curiosity's sake and because I'm nosy, put your relationship status in the comments. I want to know who's single and out there dating and who's married, all the tea. I matched with someone who I believe tried to scam me. Hi, I am 20-year-old male. For context, I am gay and I have been single all my life. Recently, I have been feeling lonely as I've been alone for so long, so I decided to download a gay dating app named Surge. I matched with this person this morning and we were getting to know each other. I thought it was going great. He then asked me if I had Telegram so we could communicate better. I didn't think anything of it since I had it, so I added him on it. When we started chatting, this is where it got weird. He asked me what previous things he asked in the dating app, almost like he forgot, which was weird. Also, the way he sent things made me realize he was not someone who knew English, as a lot of things were either not spelled correctly or were not worded correctly. He also, after every message I sent introducing him to me and other messages I sent, all he would respond with was, "That's great." Then randomly, they started calling me babe, like we were dating. We met online 2 hours beforehand, but he also said things that were off to me and I didn't know if they were true. He said he was enlisted, which I thought was a little bit of a weird way of saying that he was in the army. He then said he was in Costa Rica, do you mean Puerto Rico? For a promotion, and he would spend time with me afterward. He then said that they were not allowed to take pictures or call or FaceTime there, or they would get back to, okay. I mean, that is like 101 of catfishing when they can't provide proof of who they are. Come on now. He said they were not allowed to take pictures or call or FaceTime there, or when they got back to the US, they would face 2 months of jail time. Now, this struck me as weird, but I knew nothing of the army, so I didn't know if this was real or not. He then started bringing up that he was boarded and wanted to get this game and asked me to get it for him. I told him, sorry, but I don't have the money. You're a complete stranger to this person. I haven't had a job since last May, and I've been looking for one for a year. Luckily, I found one and I start this Thursday. He was then like, but you went to the store. And then I explained to him that my dad let me use his card so that I could buy myself lunch. He then was like, use your dad's card to get me my game. Okay, yeah. He just wants stuff from you. Either to take your credit card information or to just have you buy him stuff and send it to him. I told him I couldn't because I would not steal from my dad and that I wouldn't steal from anyone. At this point, something was clicking in my head that something was not right, as I just met this person a few hours ago. He then continuously tried to get me to give him a $20 Apple gift card and said the game he wanted was PES, which is Pro Evolution Soccer, which I found weird as it was a console game, so you would need an Apple gift card for it. Then he mentioned he already had it and wanted to upgrade it. How old is this person though? Now, something to know is that I am a gamer, so I know that all games are free to update. After he said upgrade, I asked if he meant update. He then said yes, then I texted him that he knows the updates are free. He then said he knew what he was talking about and that he wanted me to give him the gift card. Now, earlier in the conversation, when he first brought this up, I told him I had no money and I was broke and that I was paying monthly debt payments as a payment plan to my state revenue department. He then said he would help me pay it once he got back with his promotion bonus. Just preparing you to take this number in. Of $600,000. This is where it started to click that this was a scam, as what bonus would give someone over $500,000? Now, back to where he kept on trying to convince me to give him the Apple gift card. At this point, I was sick and tired, so I called my friends for advice. They told me it sounded like a scam, and if it wasn't, this guy was a walking red flag. Do you think it was a scam? Well, yeah, absolutely. I don't know to the extent of what the scam was, but he either just wanted you to straight up buy him games, and he was gonna continue maybe to get some free gifts out of you, or maybe getting your credit card information somehow. Not really sure, but we know what his intentions were. Next up, worst experience. I'll see about that. I've heard some really bad ones. I'm an Indian student in the US and I want to share a horror story that I had today on my first date ever. Oh no. I met this girl, also Indian, on Hinge. She asked me to go out to meet. We met and I paid for the lunch. She wanted dessert. I paid there as well. I assumed, okay, maybe she will pay later. Then she took me to a shopping center and bought stuff worth $200. Yeah, she said she needed some weird luxury perfume. I was like, buy whatever you want. I don't care. At the pay counter, the girl suddenly pretends that she forgot her card and puts me in a spot with a huge queue behind us. I clearly say, I am paying now, but please Zelle me back ASAP. And now she refuses to pay, saying it was your idea to visit a mall. On a first, ever. That's rude no matter what. But on a first date? Well, I just wanted to check if there was a sale. What kind of human do you have to be to use some stranger's money to buy luxury stuff? Please note, this girl comes from a wealthy background unlike me. She lives in South Delhi. She doesn't even have a part-time job and is clearly not looking actively for a job as apparently her father can support her. I wish I had known this before the date. I know it is stupid of me to even have paid at that point, but I was blank and I just was not thinking straight. But this was an eye-opener. I will be wary to go on dates, and more so, I will definitely not be paying. It has to be split, or it's a no-no from me. I have lost all trust in girls for real, and even the concept of dating. How selfish and greedy do you have to be to use someone else's hard-earned money? I work 20 hours a week to support my rent, paying off my loan. The amount she spent on the perfume, I would never imagine spending this crazy money. Now she messages, you should not date and be single if you can't afford a date. Okay, buying someone luxury perfume is not a date. I am sorry, but if this is dating, I would rather be single. It is a shameless behavior and lack of decency to make someone pay $200 for your stuff on the first date. I just hope no one else has to go through such experiences. So I'm just assuming that she didn't Zelle you back, and instead her reasoning was, if you can't afford it, don't ask me on a date. We went on a date, which I paid for. The shopping spree is not part of a date. Wild behavior. Next up, I can't make this up. Please laugh at my expense. You don't have to ask us twice on this channel. Date began wonderfully. I was clad in a long sweater dress, wearing my hair extensions, new witchy earrings, and my docs. Greet him, and he's wearing a flat cap, which is my strange weakness. It was lovely, and so was he. He made a comment on my breasts, my bosoms, my yabos, as we call them on this channel, and how he wasn't aware how big they were from my pics. 10 minutes into the date, I would have been gone after that. At 11 minutes, I would have been gone. This immediately set me off, but I brushed it off. He said it again later that night. The F? His mother called, which I told him to answer. Find out that he's the only person she has, which is heartbreaking. His family is pretty awful, so I feel terrible for him. He informs me that if he doesn't talk to his mother every day or every other day, she gets very worried. Now, this can be good or bad. It's great to have such a close relationship with a parent, but I also worry about the future. Girl, what are you thinking about a future with this man? Did we just forget what just happened? Anyway, I found out that he's 42. I excitedly announced that he knows the answer to everything. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference. I don't understand that reference. He didn't understand the reference, so my nerdy heart was a tiny bit crushed. He doesn't read much. I mean, if it's not your thing, I get it. I'm reading about 5 books right now because I like to switch back and forth. He also wasn't much into Marvel and the MCU, which is one of my biggest desires because I want to nerd out about the multiverse, theories, and the like. This is also stated in my damn profile. The evening progresses and I take him back to my place. Oh. We started watching Wednesday because he hasn't seen it. things get steamy and I take him into my room. We're about to, how do the kids say it? Hit a home run? I have no clue. He goes to put a rubber on, but needs to use the bathroom. He proceeds to spend 20 minutes in there making every noise a human body can make, followed by vocals. Excellent range, I must say. I'm laying there under the blankets, laughing under my breath because of this. It is so frustrating that it's funny. Wait, but we can only guess what's happening in there. Like, I think we know, but we can only guess, right? Do I know?
But see, they don't know that we know that they know.
I'm not having sex tonight after that. I can't. I'm so turned off, and it's not his fault at all. The situation sucked. I was just cackling out of frustration then. I ended up getting dressed, making myself a poke bowl, and making tea. Well, you should make him some peppermint tea for his stomach. Mortifying. I feel bad for him. Terrible timing for something like that to happen, if it's what I think it is. Just a guy trying to find my date. I met this online date at a brewery and we had a nice 2-hour chat, hit it off well enough, so we planned a second date in which I paid $80 for 2 baseball tickets. Day of the game, she couldn't go because of stress and anxiety in her life. I'm a forgiving person, so I told her it was fine, despite it being very last minute, which meant the second ticket went to waste and she didn't offer to pay me for it. Just a vague, I'll make it up to you. I'm not too upset about this, mind you. Life stuff happens and mental health is important, yet it would have been nice to get that canceled a day earlier or so at least, maybe invite my dad or a friend to join. Then we proceeded to reschedule plans for a trivia night at a bar, which she again changed her mind and decided just a park walk with her dog was the better choice for her. So we scheduled to meet at a park at 5 p.m. I get to this very large park at 4:45 p.m. and ask her where she is, and she says, I'm gonna spend some time at the off-leash area south. I've never been to this area of the park, which is technically another park across the street, which I never knew about. So I Googled it and sent her a map screenshot with a place circled, and I asked her if that is where she was. She said yes, so I started walking there. Mind you, she never said prior that we would be meeting there. She texted me at the time scheduled that she was going to go there. Didn't even ask if I could meet her there or give me a different place to meet when she was done, or ask where I was. Just, quote, here is where I will be for a vague period of time. So I started walking that direction. After 10 minutes of walking, I'm not sure if I'm going the right way, so I text and get no response for another 10 minutes from her. So I call and she doesn't answer. I then text her to see and ask if the trail I see is the right way to go. Still no answer. I then think I have found the place, so I call a second time, no answer. I decide to wait there until I hear back and another 10 minutes go by. How many minutes are we at right now? We're at like 40 minutes. Finally, she calls me and says, I'm at the stop sign. We're just exiting the dog off leash area. By this point, it's 5:45 p.m., 45 minutes after we were supposed to meet. I've been walking trying to find her for 60 minutes at this point. She gets frustrated and says, I don't know where you are. I don't know how you got so lost. I ask her for a map to show me where she is and see that she's about a 10-minute walk north from where I came from. She says she'll meet me at this building, which is in the park area we were originally meant to meet at. So I walk back there. I don't see her there. So I call a third time. She doesn't answer. So I walk back to the spot on her map I saw in her screenshot, and I wait there for another 5 minutes. Finally, she answers her phone and then goes, why are you over there? I'm at the building. We've been waiting here 15 minutes. So I said, I didn't see you there, so I walked back to where your map showed. I say, I'll be right there. She says, well, my parking is almost expired. I'm gonna start walking to the park. We're going. So I said, wait, which direction are you walking? But she hung up on me before answering the question, which means I have to take a 50-50 guess on which direction in the park loop she went. I then sprint over there and finally find her with her dog. One of the worst dating experiences I've ever had. Felt like she cared more about running an errand with her dog than making an effort to go on a date with me. I gotta be honest, the whole time I was thinking she was never at the park. And she was just like at home, not wanting to cancel the date, but not wanting to go. And she was just like making things up to like buy herself some time until you just went home. I was surprised she was really there. Y'all know what time it is. Grab your beverage of choice. We're hopping on hydration station. You better drink your water. Cheers. Fun fact, my upstairs neighbor just knocked on my door because she lives above me, and she dropped her AirPod on my balcony and I found it. It was on the ledge. She got so lucky. Thought I'd share. Best friend kissed my ex and then harassed him for months. Names have been changed. I, 19 female, have been very non-confrontational my whole life and have let people walk all over me quite often. I am way better at setting boundaries and sticking up for myself now. This story finally made me angry enough to realize I needed to change some things. But for a while, it was really tough. The biggest instance of this was with my best friend, Ruth. Me and Ruth were childhood friends. We had met when we were about 10 and stayed close since then. She was always short-tempered and outspoken, but I didn't really mind. Every once in a while, she would do something that really hurt my feelings, but I would always brush it off. Other friends weren't a huge fan of her, but I kept hanging out with her because I didn't really see a reason not to at the time. About a year and a half ago, I started dating a guy who I will call Sam, who I absolutely adored. We have had a lot of fun together and everything seemed to be going well until he broke it off after ghosting me for 2 weeks. I later learned that while he was ghosting me, he had started seeing another girl. About 3 months after our breakup, he tried to get back with me and I said no, but we resolved some things and we weren't on bad terms. I wasn't about to get back with a cheater, but I still had a really hard time getting over it. I told Ruth this and she seemed sympathetic. She had seen how giddy I was when he first asked me on a date. About 2 weeks after we semi-resolved things, I went to a small gathering at Ruth's house. To my surprise, in the middle of the gathering, Ruth announced that she had invited Sam. I was baffled and really didn't want to see him, but since I had hitched a ride with another friend, I couldn't really leave. I thought Ruth was trying to wingman me into making up and dating Sam again, but when he got there, she flirted with him the entire time. He wasn't super responsive and seemed uncomfortable given that I was there, but stayed for the rest of the get-together. 2 weeks later, another friend mentioned to me that Ruth had asked Sam on a double date and that they seemed to really hit it off, ending the night with a walk holding hands. Ruth had been super vocal about this to our other friends, but didn't say anything to me. The next day, I was pretty quiet around her and she figured out that I had learned what had happened. She apologized and I told her I was still pretty weirded out by it since I was still kind of getting over him, but ultimately I couldn't tell her what to do and not do. She seemed to take this as me being completely fine with them dating and started to tell me details from their first kiss, their latest date, how it was to hold hands with him, etc. Spare me the details, girlfriend. I'm good. I am super aware now that I should have at this point or much earlier told her exactly how I felt about things or just stopped being friends with her, but I'm a pushover and I let it happen. About a month later, they broke up and she came to me first for comfort. I'll admit I threw in the occasional passive-aggressive remark, I actually know exactly how you feel. But I let her talk to me about it still. At this point, she decided that he was her mortal enemy and would say all sorts of nasty things about him behind his back and occasionally to his face. I have to admit, it brought me a little joy to see him completely overwhelmed with angry texts from her. He deserved it to a point, but it got kind of crazy. I would say 50% of what she talked about for months was about how crazy he was. She still keeps tabs on him. He blocked her, but she still looks at his socials from time to time. Since then, she has hit on the other boys I've dated and tells me they can't take their eyes off her. We moved to different areas for college, so I don't see her much anymore, but taking a step away from her has made me realize how absolutely crazy she was/is. We are meeting up around Thanksgiving for lunch, and I hope she has learned some big lessons from living on her own, because man, she needs it. Okay, well, you and I are different because there's no way that person would still be in my life. No freaking way. I'll pass. Almost had a date planned with someone I feel like has an avoidant attachment style. I'm gonna need some more details. So basically, I, male 31, got talking to a woman 30 on a night out and went back to her place and made out, and she seemed really keen on meeting up again, only to find out she messaged me saying she was now in a relationship in less than a week, which was really strange considering how enthusiastic she seemed towards me that night. Her relationship didn't last long, and we got talking again online, and there was this constant back and forth with me asking her if she would like to meet up, only to have excuses as to why she can't, such as, I'm very busy, I'm in a bad place at the moment, I'm frightened because my ex keeps contacting me, etc. And this went on for an entire month of these exhausting push-pull messages between us, only to be met with the same excuses every time. Then she started messaging me again, saying she was out past 12 p.m. at the place I had initially met her at, which she had previously done 2 days ago before without inviting me beforehand, and just before I was going to bed, and thought to myself, I've had enough of this. So I put my clothes on and I marched down there stone cold sober. We got talking really well, but then I had to deal with a creepy dude that wouldn't leave her alone and convinced her to go back to his place, which I went along to. How did that happen? How did we let this happen? The scary thing is how easily influenced she was. The guy asked what my dynamic was with her while she was using the toilet, which was not boyfriend or girlfriend. He was like, I'm gonna take my shot with her then, as I'm in an open relationship. My heart was pumping. She even agreed to go on a date with him in front of me, after she told me she wasn't looking to date at the moment, and the guy went in for a forced kiss out of nowhere. But I grabbed the guy's shoulder and turned him around just because he could, and revealed what he had just said. She got super annoyed for being almost played by the guy. I'm just so confused. This situation is so uncomfortable and weird. I went back to her place where we got talking for a fair amount of time, with her telling me how much she likes me, and revealed to me by saying, I told you where I was to see if you would come. And I'm like, why don't you just ask me to meet you? Because she's clearly playing games. She just said yes to a date with another man in front of you. Anyway, we got more passionate than the first time, only to have her pull away when I tried to get more physical, which I mirrored, pulled away myself, and left me in her place on my own to have a cigarette without even telling me after, saying she has problems with closeness. By the end of it all, we both agreed to go on a proper date with each other. However, the next day there was barely anything back from her for me to confirm the date. In fact, I was left on red until the next day, where she messages, I just found out some bad news, so having a couple of beers and just watching stuff, while I was out for my mate's birthday, only to find her out again shortly after her message, wearing the shortest, tightest dress in the whole venue. She did not expect me to be there and gave more excuses as to why, and I ended up leaving her by the end of the night with a bunch of pissed up guys on her own, without her friend no longer being there, around the pool table with her giving out her number to a guy as she barely acknowledged me during the night. So I was left in an awkward situation of trying to enjoy my mate's birthday while not knowing how to act around her, as I was trying to plan a date moments before. I do remember her asking me if I had a quickie with my mate's female friend when I came out of the unisex toilets. Absolutely not. I don't know why you're wasting your time with this person, but I'll let you continue to waste your time and tell me the rest of the story. It's like, why would I do that? She also said to me later that night, I'm not even interested in this guy, so I'm using him for drinks because everyone uses me. Only to find they had added each other on Instagram the very next day, as I remembered the guy's face and name. So the likelihood is she probably had a one-night stand based on what she revealed to me and what I observed during my last outing with her just 2 days before, while she was crying about her past behavior over the years. I was left completely emotionally drained walking home and decided to message her 2 days later to call off any potential date with her and told her it is best to let you have your space to yourself. Her response was just, that's fair enough. You're probably right. Okay. Which I have left unanswered ever since. So my conclusion is this person has major avoidant attachment issues with a lot of mental health things going on top of that, and she had opened up to me about it in detail as well, as I didn't even know what avoidant attachment was before meeting her. Honestly, this was by far the craziest and most exhausting experience of me ever pursuing someone, as they breadcrumb you, then pull away out of nowhere afterwards, only to come back with excuses. I could go into more detail, but it would require an entire essay to write up. Tread carefully with someone if you ever see these signs. I feel like that's very relatable in the dating scene. The games, the uncertainty, the push-pull. I ain't got time for that. I'll see you in the comments. Stay classy out there. Stay classy. You wish.